Welcome to the Timescales. Today we have a very special guest. It is the return of John Walsh. John Walsh is the author of Doctor Who and the Daleks, the official story of the films, which is an absolutely excellent release. And there's some good news. John's been given an award. Tell us about it, Mr. Walsh.
Hi, Greg. Great to be back here. And
great to have you back.
I've not quite been given the award yet. I've been awarded a nomination, a Rondo Hatton Awards nomination for Book of the Year, which is my fourth Rondo Award for this book, Doctor Who and the Daleks, the official story of the films. And I was Rondo Hattoned for my three previous books as well, on Flash Gordon, Escape from New York, and Ray Harryhausen. So basically, for people who have heard of Rondo Hatton but haven't heard of the awards, Rondo Hatton was an actor who appeared in sort of thrillers and horror films, really from the 1930s to the 1950s. And he had a form of gigantism to his face. So people thought he was wearing a mask, but in fact, it was his actual face that kept growing and growing and becoming rather swollen. And he in fact died, sadly, at the age of 51 because of the form of gigantism he had suffered all of his life. But David Colton, who's a journalist and an author himself, 20 years ago set up these awards because there really wasn't awards, Greg, for science fiction and horror films, a sort of a standalone awards, if you will. And it's really needed because if we think, science fiction, horror, fantasy, it's really the backbone of the film and media industry, across whether it's film, television, podcasts, books, magazines, artwork. David's awards, the Rondo Awards, cover all of those categories. And we're, I think, category number 11, Book of the Year. And it's quite an honour to be in amongst all the great and the good who've been nominated this year, which is fabulous.
No doubt. That is absolutely outstanding. Now, I do know that when speaking with you before and doing a little bit of research into your background, I know that you had been nominated for a BAFTA as well, which is, from my understanding, a really big deal. Don't you have a considerable collection of nominations that you're building up these days?
Yes, I have. There's two BAFTA nominations and there's a few awards as well. In all the years I've been working in film and TV, I've picked up quite a few different awards and nominations. And as much as people say that they're not important or they don't think that they're that big a deal, filmmakers do. Everyone likes to be nominated and recognised. But there's certain politics, of course, that goes with awards and who gets left out and why are certain people regularly nominated and so on. And I think there's certain types of programs and filmmakers like myself who can be sort of more friendly towards being nominated, because if you make programs that are perhaps a bit unusual or get noticed, then you're more likely to be nominated. They're harder shows to make, of course, and films to produce, but a bit like this book, people said for many years, why hasn't there been a Doctor Who book? Mm-hmm. It's great that now there is finally one that is actually, it's award worthy. So even if we don't win the Rondo Hatton, I'm thrilled that we've got the nomination. But chasing awards isn't always a great thing to do, but lots of people do it. And the Oscars, of course, is still worldwide news. So what does or doesn't win at the Oscars is reported throughout the world. So I think it's significant that there are so many awards shows now than there ever have been before, and yet people's interest in them is as high as ever.
Okay, that's interesting. You touched on the politics of awards, and that's something that I find to be very interesting. What I'm wondering, as far as a Rondo Award, has there been a Doctor Who book that has been nominated for a Rondo Award before? How did this come to be? What exactly happened? Did you just suddenly get an email or a text one morning and that says, congratulations, you're our Rondo nominee?
Well, for most awards, you can kind of apply or you can kind of submit your film for consideration. Certainly for the BAFTAs, That's how it worked for those. And the Grierson Awards and some of the others like the Monte Carlo and so on. But then everyone submits their films and only a few are selected. in the case of the Rondo Hatton, I got a text from a friend, said, "Oh, you've been nominated." And I said, "Oh, what for?" And they said, "The Rondo Hatton." And I said, "What, for last year?" They said, "No, this year for Doctor Who and the Daleks." And I was delighted and surprised because it's not a horror film in that true sense. And it's quite an older film. And for people who know Doctor Who, they know Doctor Who as a television series. And certainly in America, it's probably more widely well known as a television series, not a pair of movies from the 1960s. So I was thrilled. I was absolutely delighted that to be nominated again. And it comes as a surprise. You're working hard not for the nomination, but if one comes along, then that's all well and good. But I'm sort of used to the cut and thrust of considerations and award nights and the politics that goes with that, because not for myself, but for people I've spoken to who have been nominated and who've won awards, it can sometimes count against you if you're trying to get more work in the industry sometimes, because people think your rate has gone up. Because I'm not really a producer or a director for hire in that sense, because I do my own productions through my own company. People who have won multiple awards say it's harder to get work because people think I'm either not available or I'm too expensive.
Okay, makes sense. Well, John, congratulations to you. That is absolutely awesome. I recall that the last time we spoke, you were on fire. You were running around doing interviews, you were doing book signings. And in fact, didn't Doctor Who and the Daleks, the official story of the films, sell out at some point and go to a reprint?
That's right. So this book is now sold out. It's on its second print run. I'm being told that that's now selling out. So it's about to go to its third print run, which is marvelous in the space of just a few months, really. It was December was the official publication date. But of course, it's been available to pre-order since last year. I think around March, April time last year. So it's had wonderful momentum. And there's been an uptick in all of my books. They've all started to sell. As a new one comes along, they all suddenly come alive again. And since we last spoke, 2 new books of mine are now available to pre-order, and that's Conan the Barbarian, the official story of the film, which is out in August. And in October this year, on I think the 5th of October in United Kingdom and the rest of the world, including America, The Wicker Man, the official story of the film. So the horror film from 1973, highly controversial in its day. It's 50 years old. It's getting a shiny new 4K restoration from the folks down at Studio Canal. I was asked to write the official book of the making of the film. And I have a kind of an interesting relationship with the film because I didn't entirely believe the mythos around the story of how the film was made and some of the kind of folklore around it in terms of what happened to it within the industry. Parts of it were missing, why it went missing, and so on. So we straightened out, I think, for the first time and given an official version. And I think some people will be surprised, others might be shocked.
And now, for our more dreadful sacrifice.
It is time to keep your appointment with the Wicker Man.
You're getting to be good friends with those people over there at Studio Canal, aren't you?
Yes, I mean, Studio Canal have been very supportive. They have great movies in their archive. Flash Gordon, Escape from New York, of course, the Doctor Who films as well. And it's a good partnership because Tyson Books, myself, and Studio Canal have worked now on so many projects. We know what to expect from each other, and it's always great to kind of bring the team back together because we can always do something special. And when people think, well, what is there left to say about some of these old films? Well, it's up to me to find out. And what is there left to see? Well, again, on my shoulders be it, because if you're asking people to spend, the best part of maybe $50, then it needs to have something new to say and new to show and leave people wanting to see the film again. So I think that's the best compliment I've had from these books, particularly with Doctor Who. People have said, I've seen the film so many times, but after reading your book at Christmas, I got the film straight back on again, because now I'm seeing them with different, fresh eyes from the perspective of what really went on behind the scenes.
That's actually my personal experience. After reading Doctor Who and the Daleks, the official story of the films, I went and ordered the 4K versions and watched those again. And I think that I actually enjoyed them more than I ever did before. And it was because of your book and the education that it provided into the very rich background. Your book, as you know, is the most epic book on these films that has ever been published and ever will. There's no way that it will be outdone. And to be honest with you, I'm not surprised when I heard that you were up for an award, John, because it's well deserved. Your love and your work is extremely obvious, and it shows in this book.
No, I appreciate that, Greg. And if people want to vote for me or for any of the other great books, I think you can only vote for one in the category. But, have a look. Then I think we're going to stick a caption up. Is that right, Greg, for people to get to the Rondo Awards?
Yes, exactly. And also, let's put a link down below where people can order the new books, Conan, and then what was the next one that you said that's coming out in October?
The Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man. Okay, see, that one I didn't know about yet. So that one is news for me right there. So you have two more coming up. Are they coming out in the same format with, I call it a huge coffee table book? Is it coming out in that nice big thick hardcover volume?
Yes, it's a
okay.
very big, lavish, expensive coffee table art book. And people have said to me, and I've always agreed, there should be a coffee table art book awards for big format coffee table books, because there isn't one, and it seems surprising there isn't.
I think so. And your book, Doctor Who and the Daleks, the official story of the films, for example, is one that is difficult to capture in pictures. Somebody really needs to just hold it in their hands and feel the weight of it and feel the embossing on the cover. If you run your hand across the cover of that, those letters are raised and it's an absolute beautiful piece of art is what it is. And in addition to being historical and a fantastic complete documentary, it's also a really nice piece of art to just hold in your hand. John, let me ask you this. How long do people have to go ahead and put their vote in on the Rondo Awards?
Well, the Rondo Awards, they close on April 23rd, 2023. So depending on when you're watching this video, it might be too late, but if it's not, then by all means, click on the caption that you're seeing on screen now, or type in rondoaward.com and you'll find it there. And it's quite straightforward. You'll find over 20 or so categories, and you just pick the ones you want to vote for. You don't have to vote for all of them. And films, videos, extras, commentary tracks, and podcasts. I've been nominated in another category for the Ray Harryhausen podcast. So I'm a double nominee this year. And the Harryhausen podcast has been nominated, I think, pretty much every year we've been running it, but still not a winner, just a nominee. Always the bridesmaid, as they say in this country. When anytime I've not won at an award ceremony and somebody sends our table some more champagne, and I don't drink, of course, and they say, "Oh, John, always the bridesmaid." You give a cheery wave, but there's always people on the table who can drink a magnum of champagne.
Well, that is really nice to hear, because I do know that the Ray Harryhausen Podcast Awards is one that's important to you, and it well should be, with you being an historian on Mr. Harryhausen, and let's hope you get that one too. So, well, hey, thanks for your time today. It was great to catch up to you. Cheers to you there in London, and let's go ahead and put a couple of links down below here on YouTube where people can click directly on and go to the Rondo Awards and place their vote, and then also the links to your two new publications that are coming out this year.
Great stuff. Absolutely. I appreciate the support. If I do win, I'll come back on with the Rondo Award in my hand.
Okay. you will actually get the physical award.
Yeah, I have an awards shelf here in my office, which is behind my green screen. So next time I'll do it without the green screen, and we can have a look at where it fits.
Okay.
The show.
Okay, beautiful. All right, well, John, hey, congratulations. That is so nice to hear, and this was great to be able to catch up to you again. And I've got my fingers crossed for you, and I'm going to go put a vote in myself as well.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Greg. Have a great day.
Okay, you do the same. Take care.
Thanks. Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.